Hey everyone, in this video I'm going to show you how to make a duplicate license plate number. I'll cover everything from gathering the necessary materials to the actual creation process, and I'll also discuss the legal implications of doing this. Remember, this is for educational purposes only, and I strongly advise against using this information for illegal activities. Let's get started. So, your registration plate's been stolen. That's a real pain, I know. First things first, report it to the police immediately. This is crucial, not just for insurance purposes, but also because it establishes a record of the theft. They'll likely give you a reference number, which you'll need later. While you're at it, report it to your insurance company as well. They might have specific procedures you need to follow. Don't delay on this, the sooner you report it, the better. Now, let's talk about getting a replacement. Making a duplicate license plate isn't something you can just do yourself. It's illegal to create your own plates. Think about it, that would be a recipe for disaster. The whole point of license plates is to have a unique identifier linked to your vehicle and your registration. Creating your own opens the door to all sorts of problems, from identity theft to being pulled over for driving an unregistered vehicle. So, forget about DIY license plates, it's simply not an option. Getting a legitimate duplicate is the only legal route. The process and cost will vary depending on where you live. In some places, it might be a simple matter of visiting your local Department of Motor Vehicles or equivalent agency. They'll likely ask for proof of ownership, your vehicle identification number, VIN, and that police report number I mentioned earlier. In other places, you might need to fill out some paperwork and possibly even pay a fee, maybe something like $50 or even more, depending on your location and the specific requirements. It's always best to check your local DMV's website or give them a call to get the exact details and costs for your area. They'll be able to tell you precisely what you need to bring with you and what the process entails. The timeframe for getting your new plate can also vary. Sometimes you can get it on the spot, while other times it might take a few days or even a week or TWO. Again, this depends entirely on your local DMV's procedures and how busy they are. Be prepared for some waiting, and don't hesitate to call ahead and ask about estimated wait times. So, can you get a duplicate license plate? Absolutely. But remember, you have to go through the proper channels. Don't try to cut corners, it's not worth the risk. Following the legal process ensures you're driving legally and avoids potential fines or even more serious consequences. Remember to be patient and prepared with all the necessary documentation. It might seem like a hassle, but it's a necessary step to get back on the road safely and legally. Hey everyone, and welcome. Today we are tackling a topic that pops up more often than you might think, getting a duplicate license plate. Let's dive right in and explore when you might need one. So, when would you need a duplicate license plate? Well, there are a few common scenarios. The most obvious is if your plate has been stolen. That's a frustrating situation, and getting a replacement is a priority. Then there's the possibility of damage. Maybe your plate got bent in an accident, or perhaps it's just so worn down that it's illegible. In those cases, a duplicate is the solution. And finally, there's the less common but still possible scenario of a plate being lost. It might have fallen off your car, or maybe you misplaced it somewhere. Whatever the reason, needing a duplicate is a hassle, but it's something that happens. It's important to remember that administrative errors can also lead to needing a duplicate, so don't rule that out. The DMV might have issued an incorrect plate, or there might have been a problem with the initial registration. These situations, while less frequent, are still possibilities. Now, let's clear up a common point of confusion, the difference between getting a duplicate and replacing your license plate. A duplicate is essentially a copy of your existing plate number. You keep the same number, just get a new physical plate. Replacing a plate, on the other hand, usually means you're getting a completely new plate number. This is typically necessary if your plate has been involved in a crime, or if there's a serious issue with the plate itself that can be fixed with a simple duplicate. Think of it this way, a duplicate is like getting a new copy of a document, replacing it is like creating an entirely new document with different information. Understanding this difference is key to knowing which process you need to follow. So, where do you actually go to apply for this duplicate? Well, that depends on your location. In most places, you'll need to visit your local Department of Motor Vehicles, or DMV. They are the ones who handle vehicle registration and licensing, so they're your one-stop shop for this. Some states might allow you to do some of the process online, but you'll likely still need to visit the DMV at some point to pick up the physical plate. It's always best to check your state's DMV website for the most up-to-date and accurate information on their specific procedures. Don't assume anything. Every state has its own rules and regulations. Now, let's talk about the paperwork. Getting a duplicate license plate isn't a walk in the park. You'll need to bring some documentation with you. First and foremost, you'll need your driver's license or state-issued identification card. This proves your identity and allows the DMV to verify who you are. Next, you'll need proof of vehicle ownership. This could be your vehicle title or registration certificate. This proves that you are the legal owner of the vehicle and are authorized to request a duplicate plate. You'll also likely need to provide the vehicle's VIN number, which is a unique identifier for your car. This helps the DMV locate your vehicle's information in their system. Depending on the circumstances of why you need a duplicate, you might need additional documentation, such as a police report if your plate was stolen. It's always a good idea to call your local DMV beforehand to confirm exactly what documents you'll need to bring to avoid any unnecessary trips. Being prepared saves time and frustration.